Sylvie, what do you think of the Save the Cat beat sheet? Sylvie, could you tell me what your writing routine is? And what do you think of the economy? My name is Miranda. I'm an author to be. Today's video is just about me restarting my draft 2. I recreated the timeline that was in the video I'm hopefully showing a screenshot of here, and I just really am intimidated because chapter 1 is hard. Chapter 1 is very hard, and I forgot how hard it is to start from nothing and keep going. Oh, hi, if you're new here, I'm writing a fantasy book. It is a fantasy with a slow burn forbidden romance subplot. I got it out finally. And it is a romance between a fairy and an elf. I enjoy stories that have humans as the main character in a fantasy setting because we all want to be special. We all want to be magical. But I said, what if you could picture yourself as a fairy instead? That's pretty cool. I've lost the plot. I don't know what to do now. Oh, I know, one thing I wanted to talk about. I recently have been looking more and more at like Save the Cat, Beat Sheet, this. You probably know it if you're writing a book. If you don't, this is something I recommend. It helps you with story structure and how to kind of plan and plot. And in Act 1, it says that you should start with 5 things: an opening image, theme stated, setup, catalyst, and the debate. I pretty much went straight into the catalyst, the inciting incident, and I felt that something was wrong. It was rushed, and yet it felt so slow. How could I have done that? I don't know, but I did. I think I was just going out of order, and maybe following this better will help me out. I'm hoping it will. I also like to look at the percentages and where everything is. Well, something just fell. And the lighting changes. Wonderful. Well, we should probably finish this up then. Best of luck. I hope whatever you're doing is going well. If it's not, and you want some insight on something, I might be able to help. I'm not a master of this art, of the craft. I'm not, but maybe we can talk about it. I have filmed 10 minutes, and probably 3 is gonna make it into this intro, so that's how it goes, huh? See you in the next clip. So we're at the point where we actually need to start writing chapter 1. I still procrastinated as much as I could because last night I edited whatever footage I had. I am liking this process more of editing as I go. I created a mood board for Act 1. Now you're probably thinking, you're just creating a bunch of mood boards. How does that have any relevance to the progress of your story? Let me tell you, it motivates me. It keeps me going. It makes me feel excited. But I won't take credit for this idea. I'm sure other people have done it, and I just didn't hear about it. When I was creating the graphic for the beats of the story that you just saw, I was describing it to him over the phone, what I was doing, and he thought I was making mood boards for each beat of the story. And I was like, well, that would be really tedious, but that sounds like a lot of fun. So instead of every beat, I've decided to do every act of the story. Typically, one act sort of encapsulates a season. My story, by the way, takes place from fall to fall, and that means I get to have fun with every season. Tons of different weather, events, holiday, cultural things to experience, which is also important for our main character Nissa, as she is entering a country that is foreign to her, and she gets to experience all of this for the first time. So this is the mood board for Act 1. As you'll notice, it's very autumn, it's very fall, and I'm just going to describe to you some important elements that you think maybe are random. There's a coin purse in the right quadrant of this mood board. That is relevant because Nissa promised her savings to a witch. Then you have a fire, a forest on fire in the top of this photo. Part of the story is a mystery of trying to figure out who's setting the forest on fire, and that's kind of fun. I'm not going to describe every image to you, otherwise that would be sort of spoilery, but hope you enjoyed that. It was fun to make. I hope it was fun to look at. Now, I don't have a lot of time today, so we're just gonna write chapter 1 in sprints. I've already started the chapter in my midst of trying to figure it out. Anyway, I'm gonna be writing some sprints. I'm gonna be writing in like 15-minute sprints, and we're just gonna take whatever we have. We're not gonna try and edit it as much as I want to. If I get 5 words in a sprint, that's fine. I'm just trying to make it through this chapter without feeling like it's utter crap. Let's do this. Alright, kind of like what I've written so far. I'm not going to go back though, because I know that if I go back and I read, I will just simply try and edit for another sprint. So what I'm going to do is just keep going. I'm just going to keep going. I can't English. I just made up a term for fairies that I don't know if I'm going to keep, but I like the idea of. I'm trying to figure out something that Nissa particularly struggles with. She's pretty much good at almost everything because she's learned almost everything, trying to find her gift. But I just came up with the term flora mathematics. Mathematics having to do with like plants. I'm not quite sure what that means, but maybe that's the point. Alright, let's do another sprint. Okay, so that went well too. We're on to the third sprint. Trying not to get too caught up in the dialogue, but I seem to be, so I'm gonna try and just keep going. Maybe leave brackets for myself if I need to. Third sprint, here we come. Is the third sprint done. I'm liking what I'm writing. I don't know if it's going to stay like this, but I think the first chapter will take many forms, and I have to accept that. I was gonna say I feel like I could finish it today, but I realized that there's another half of the chapter, I guess another scene that will take me, I think it'll take me some time to nail. We're just gonna do the fourth sprint and see how far we get. So I didn't press start on the timer. My camera said it's been 20 minutes though, so I've definitely done my sprint. I am going to get up and stretch and then do another one. I will say this one, I have mentally corrected myself. I don't need to tell you every single action that Nissa is doing. A lot of it is just assumed. Like I was going through the process of describing Nissa opening the front door, and then the next sentence is that no one notices her enter the home, and I was like, you're gonna assume that she opened the front door because she entered the home, so I don't need to tell you that. So I deleted that and then moved on, and I think that works a lot better. Anyway, I'm gonna stretch and then do another sprint. I actually decided to not do another sprint. I just went back and edited some things that I saw needed a little bit of tweaking, and I mean the very simplest of edits. very, very tiny. I got rid of some sentences that weren't needed, and I like finished up the section that I was writing on just by adding a couple of sentences. And that was enough for me to be like, I'm done for the day. At least I'm done for now. I might come back tonight and write, but I don't think I would film that. It is a Friday night, so I'm trying to just spend it with my husband. He's on the way home from work, and we're gonna go out to eat and get some pottery that we made weeks ago at a pottery class. So I wrote over 1,000 words just by doing what? 4 15-minute sprints. I should have known that was an hour. I just had to do some math. I wrote an hour total today, and I wrote over 1,000 words, which is amazing because 1,000 words is typically my goal every day. It's not too large of a goal that is hard to strive for because I have proven to myself that I can do it. I just have to keep writing. I think I'm good. I'm satisfied. And once again, the solution to my problem is always timing myself. Why does timing yourself force you to focus in? I'm in the last section, like scene of the book. No, I'm not. I'm in chapter 1. I'm in the last scene of the chapter, of the first chapter, which means we're almost done with this video. I might finish the chapter this weekend, but we will see. All right, I finished chapter 1, finally. But I will say, it is about 4,000 words. And I don't know about you, but I have not read many 4,000 word first chapters. It's quite long. So, it might not stay this way, certainly, as we've discussed, but it also might turn into 2 chapters. I wanted a lot of ground to be covered in the first chapter, so I did cover a lot in the first chapter. I was talking about it with my husband, how I felt like people would be overwhelmed with all the information I give and all the people I introduce and all of the lore and world building I give, but I think it's just because I know everything. I'm just worried that if a reader who knows nothing looks at this, they will be like, I don't care. I don't know your main character well enough to care about her family. That was Sylvie, and thank you. Thank you very much, Sylvie. I appreciate that. Because, you know, if you don't care about a character yet, why do you care about their family? Why do you care about how she feels regarding a lot of things? I don't know. I guess the point is I try to make you care, and I hope that you do. But I know this chapter is going to go through a lot of changes and a lot of versions, and I'm just going to have to be aware of that and move on. As long as it fits with the story, which is why I restarted this whole thing, was because originally the chapters just weren't fitting. But now I feel like this does. I feel like it fits. I feel like I was writing more in my tone, and I figured out Nissa's character. Every single time I keep writing her, I'm like, I find out something new about her or how she should really be, and I'm trying to ignore those urges to change her back to the way that I wanted her to be, because she doesn't need to be that way. She's turning into the woman and the fairy that she needs to be, and I just have to accept that she's gonna have flaws and everything. Anyway, I finished the chapter, so my goal for this video is done. I also wrote out a bunch of things that I achieved in this chapter that are good. And one of those things that I accomplished, is that it begins and ends with something that makes you hopefully want to turn the page. Because despite those 2 things, it's a very normal day. And then you got these 2 things happening. It's the same thing, just twice. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for getting this far. If you're still here, could you leave an hourglass emoji in the comments, because I totally missed the sprint that one time, and then also wrote so many sprints for chapter 1 that I think that would be a fitting emoji. Thank you again for being here. I hope it was an enjoyable experience. I hope it's been inspiring in some way, and I wish you luck on it, whatever you're working on. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Ma'am, what do you think about chapter 1 of Project Valley so far?